Alrighty, good afternoon. Welcome back here to Trader Minute. Great to have you aboard. Let's start off with the challenge here. And challenge update. There are no new triggers on the board here this afternoon. I'll admit I was slightly surprised with just due to the sheer number of crossovers. I thought for sure we'd have a signal at least, but yeah, nothing on the board right here. So running with Netflix, we have a trade price right now. Well, 5 minutes ago of 11.20, so it could be more or less right now. But we have a stock that is still shy of its profit level by quite a bit. Still shy of its exit level by quite a bit. Is at its red time stop here today, but the option is trading in the green here for us, and sitting, challenge sitting just over 3,000 here this morning. So we've had an interesting range on this challenge. The last one we didn't have this type of range at the beginning, but we've dipped as low as 1,400 at one point. We've been up at 4,100 at one point. So we're talking about a 2,700 point range that we've swung through, with just a few trades. So anyway, I expect more of that, but that's what we should see in the challenge a little bit. But it would be nice to stack a few gains on top of each other, and see the challenge push up and away, and let's get trading at a different level than this 3,000 level. But all that said, right, it's one of those where it's the process, and I'll continue to drive the process and continue to trust the process, and let the results at the end speak for themselves. So anyway, no changes to the challenge. Going to go into the close as it sits. Now, as far as downside crossovers in the market today, now these are just for the challenge watch list, and these are all the stocks with downside crossovers, where the 3-day moving average is moving below the 7-day moving average, which is the trigger mechanism for the trade algorithm. It's not what determines whether it's a trade or not. We see crossovers all the time, but it is the trigger mechanism. We can't have a signal without the trigger, right? And, so we potentially have a lot of triggers on the board here, but not a single one of these is qualified or has qualified for the challenge. You take a look at something like Arconic and what it looks like. That's not so much a bear signal there. You take a look at Alcoa. I thought Alcoa had a shot of triggering bearish, but it does have some lower highs in it and whatnot. And the Stoke 39.1 in an interesting spot visually. It makes some sense. Hasn't broken the 20, but consolidation risk component is a little high there. But you can see all the downside crossovers, and some of that's just a product of the market selling off, right? And the U.S.-China trade deal fear, all of that yabba. But it's one where do we see some further downside on some things like a Walgreens? I think it's an interesting setup where you could short it with a stop on today's open price, which is look, if you're looking to line up pretty bad and bearish here in this market, or big and bearish, sorry, in this market. Today's open price is a very good area to use, for a stop level, or to at least have your eye on there for a stop level. So anyway, that's what we're seeing there on the crossovers. Now, the last thing I'll talk about as far as an individual stock is Micron. Now, I no longer have a position on it. Okay, for the challenge. It is something that I will have a position on before the close of the market today. And not for the challenge, right? It doesn't have a challenge signal, but it's something where I'm going to go buy some lotto options on it. And, it's one where I still like the chart a lot. Right, and it is what it is there as far as the challenge trade, and we took a nice gain there, but gave back a little bit. But next week they have a They have an investor day type of thing, fireside chat with some analysts. And yeah, we could see some very interesting action here on it. And so I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to get involved in Micron, here this afternoon. I'm looking at the call spread, this kind of 48-49 call spread for about 30 cents. I think that one's interesting. I may just go with some 48.5 calls and put what I'm willing to risk on them, into it, looking for that move to 50. But I'm going to use this dip to pick up some of those ahead of the analyst day. Again, only putting in what I'm willing to risk, just because it's kind of like an earnings event. But I do think that some of the volume action we've seen, the overall price action we've seen, still lends itself pretty bullish. And, I would not be surprised to see a pretty sizable thrust to the upside here as it goes forward. So I'll be looking at that here into the close. Now, market metrics here today, right? We have the market pulling back. Are the metrics pulling back? And the answer is no. Bullish percent index is still going higher today, right? Yeah, small caps are pulling on back here. They're down about 1%, breaking below the 7-day moving average. We had this discussion back right here when the IWM broke below the 7-day moving average. And what did we discuss? Well, we went and we looked at the history. When the IWM breaks the 7-day moving average, we typically don't see it go higher in the immediate aftermath. Typically, it'll break. Sometimes it'll bounce a little higher back above, right? But we're not talking about a market that's breaking up and pushing strongly higher to the upside when that 7-day moving average is broken. We saw it right here. Yeah, we did go set a new high a couple weeks later, but we weren't talking about a monster move, right? Right here, same thing. Right here, same thing. Right here, same thing. Right? Yep, we had a 3-day snapback, and then just not much, right? Then we broke it right here. We had more of a pullback. Okay, fine. And then broke right here, stalled out for a while, and then had a little bit of pullback associated with it. So what's my point? My point is that, look, we're breaking the 7-day moving average. I don't look at that as super bearish because of where most of the metrics sit. But at the same time, I have to respect the fact that, expecting the market to surge off of these levels, maybe not. Maybe not. And, I don't think that's anything new. I don't think that's anything, any kind of earth-shattering analysis. It is what the market, has been. So, something worth looking at. But the ratios between small caps and large caps and all of that, they're still in a bullish position. We are seeing a little bit of pullback in stocks above the 7-day moving average here. And this is one area where we're seeing some weakness come into the MarketVibe. In fact, it's actually turning into a negative component for it, and it has been a positive component. But in all right now, the MarketVibe is 5 and it's bullish. One more tick lower, it goes neutral. 3 more ticks lower, it goes bearish. All right, so that's what it would need. And I'll show you the here. Let's go into it. Into the TM Academy. Sorry, I don't have my link on here. There we go. All right, it'll make me log in, but I'll just show you visually what it looks like here. Okay, so we've here's the chart over here on the right hand side. You can see the month of October, bulls have had the metrics, right, and they've had the metrics on the entire move up. It hasn't been one of these where it's wavered or anything like that. We saw it turn bullish right back here kind of second week or first week of October, and it's maintained. Today it's pulling back to a 5, and a little more pullback could turn bearish here for it. But in all, that's what we're looking at here. With the market vibe. But you see, 7.6, 7.6. I mean, that's where it's been for the last week and a half. We haven't really seen a lot of movement, from those levels. And so it's not uncommon to, see a dip when we've had, such little movement. And, we'll see how it plays on out here. But overall, not a huge change. Not something where you look at and you go, wow, this is earth-shattering or something like that. Now, could it ultimately be? Yeah, when we're dealing with China, U.S., all of that stuff, trade stuff, it could turn into more. But as it's indicated right now, today's just a pretty mild pullback. I think one of the better bullish arguments out there is, we have trade war fear here today off of the heels of the Fed yesterday cutting rates, and there's talk that rates cut cycles. We always see stocks pull back, and now we have the trade stuff again on the in the equation, and the market's down 0.6%. Right? That's not exactly a ringing bearish endorsement, right? And that's kind of what we're seeing in the metrics here as well. Alrighty, well, thanks for hopping on. Have yourselves a fantastic evening. I'll be back on with you here in the morning. Enjoy your Halloween, and we'll talk to you in November. Take care.